In the ancient land of Egypt, beneath a moonless sky, the air hung heavy with dread. Pharaoh had defied the Most High God through plague after plague. Blood turned the Nile red. Frogs flooded the cities, hail crushed the fields, and darkness blotted out the sun. Yet Pharaoh's heart remained hard. Now the final judgment loomed, the death of every firstborn in Egypt. The Lord had spoken, and his command would not return void. At midnight, the angel of the Lord, the destroyer, was sent. No eye saw him. No guard slowed his passing. Yet with every step, life ceased. From Pharaoh's palace to the humblest shack, firstborn sons lay still. There was no scream in the moment, only the dreadful silence of breath stolen away. And then the cries began, wailing that shook the kingdom. Egypt, proud and powerful, was brought to its knees. But in the homes of the Israelites, where the blood of the Lamb marked the doorposts, peace remained. Faith had covered them, and the angel passed by. Broken by grief, Pharaoh finally called for Moses. "Go," he said, "take your people and leave." Thus began the Exodus, not by rebellion, but by divine power. Generations passed, kingdoms fell, and in the land of Judah, another enemy rose, the mighty Assyrian Empire. Its kings boasted of conquest, and its armies were feared across the world. Cities burned, nations bowed. Now they came for Jerusalem. Surrounded by 185,000 soldiers, Jerusalem stood trembling. Inside its walls, fear gripped the people. Outside, Rabshakeh, the arrogant envoy of King Sennacherib, stood tall before the gates and shouted, "Do not be deceived by your God. No nation has escaped our hand. No God has saved them. Yours will not either." Hezekiah, king of Judah, did not respond with weapons or alliances. Instead, he went into the house of the Lord. He laid the letter of threats before God's altar and prayed with a broken heart. "O Lord, God of Israel, you alone are God over all kingdoms. Deliver us so that the world may know you alone are God." And the answer came through the prophet Isaiah. "Because you prayed, I will defend this city. The king of Assyria shall not enter. Not an arrow will fly here." That night, as the Assyrian army slept, confident in their numbers, the angel of the Lord descended once more. No trumpet sounded, no alarm rang. In the stillness, death moved swiftly and silently. By morning, 185,000 Assyrian soldiers lay lifeless. No sword had been drawn. God had fought the battle himself. Those who survived fled in terror. King Sennacherib returned to Nineveh in shame. Years later, he was slain in the temple of his idol by his own sons. Jerusalem was saved, not by might, but by faith. And the message echoes through time. "Be still and know that I am God." However, long before the Assyrian armies threatened Jerusalem, the prophet Isaiah had spoken, "I will punish the king of Assyria for the pride of his heart and the arrogant look in his eyes." Isaiah 10:12. It was a divine judgment, waiting for its appointed time. The angel of the Lord was not a rogue spirit. He was God's chosen instrument, a messenger who moved with purpose and precision. He had appeared before to Moses in the burning bush, to Israel in the wilderness, and to Balaam on the road, sword drawn. Each time he came, heaven's will was made known. Now Jerusalem stood surrounded. 185,000 Assyrian soldiers camped outside the city walls, taunting and mocking the God of Israel. Their envoy, Rabshakeh, declared that no God had ever saved a nation from Assyria's hand, and Jerusalem would be no different. But King Hezekiah did not answer with pride. He did not seek help from foreign powers. Instead, he entered the temple, spread the threats before God, and prayed. He asked not for his own glory, but for God's name to be honored. God responded through the prophet Isaiah. Assyria would not breach the city, would not fire an arrow, would not set foot inside. God himself would defend Jerusalem, and so the angel of the Lord came. There was no sound of battle, no clash of swords, only silence. When dawn broke, 185,000 soldiers lay dead. Their tents were still standing. Their weapons remained beside them, but their breath was gone. One night, one angel, complete devastation. It was not cruelty, it was justice. Once Assyria had been a tool of God's discipline, but pride had blinded them. They exalted themselves, mocked the living God, and believed their strength was their own. They forgot that every victory, every breath, had been allowed by the one they scorned. Sennacherib, king of Assyria, fled home in disgrace. Later, while worshiping in the temple of his god Nisroch, his own sons assassinated him. A final judgment on a king who defied heaven. Jerusalem was saved, not by walls, not by armies, but by faith. Of King Hezekiah it is said, "There was no one like him among all the kings of Judah, before or after, who trusted in the Lord as he did." 2 Kings 18:5. This is more than a story of ancient war. It is a reminder, God resists the proud, but gives grace to the humble. He defends those who trust him. He brings down the arrogant and lifts up the faithful. Empires rise and fall, kings boast and are forgotten, but the Lord reigns forever. And sometimes, all it takes is one angel and a prayer, one angel and a heart that refuses to waver. So be still. Do not trust in the strength of men. Do not fear the threats of the world. Trust in the one who holds all power. Be still and know that he is God. Then after, as dawn broke over the Assyrian camp, a haunting stillness blanketed the land. No clash of swords, no shouting soldiers. Just silence. One by one, the mightiest army in the world had fallen, not in battle, but in their sleep. Archers, horsemen, commanders, all lifeless. 185,000 men lay dead,